Okay, most guys are having offensively boring conversations with women that make her feel nothing and lead to him going home alone. What if I told you there's a way to have conversations that actually make her think X-rated thoughts and feel very adventurous? Well, in this video, I'm gonna give you the 8 conversation topics that actually make her feel excited and turned on around you. And I use these every single day and they work. Now, the first one is actually just the conversation topic of sex. So, obviously, if you get to the point where you're talking about sex with the girl, this is obviously gonna make her think about sex. And especially if it's about you and her having sex. Now, there's definitely many wrong ways to do this, and it takes a bit of skill to do this in a calibrated way that doesn't turn off the girl. So, for example, if I was in a 30-second conversation with a girl who just walked out of church, I'm not gonna say, hey, there's no way that we're gonna have sex tonight. Like, it's not calibrated, especially if I can tell that she's sort of like a prudish type of girl. We haven't really created a connection yet. Many variables that make it uncalibrated, right? But let's say we're very late into the conversation and I've already misinterpreted a bunch of things that she's done as her flirting with me and trying to seduce me. So, for example, like, oh, I see you giving me that look over there. I know what you're doing. You're not slick. Let's say I had a bunch of those misinterpretations throughout the night. Then it would make sense once we sort of have, some natural rapport together for me to say, you know what, you keep doing the same thing, and I can tell you, I don't know what you're trying to do, but we are not having sex tonight. Okay, so it makes sense eventually in that conversation to actually bring that up and say that. And now even though that I've brought that up in the negative, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter because now she's still thinking about it. It's one of those things, I can't just say a random word like tree branch and have you not think about tree branch, right? So here's another way you can sort of bring it up that I invented. Let's say that you're having a very competitive match with a girl where you guys are like teasing each other back and forth, and maybe she's sort of cocky, maybe she's giving you a lot of shit. One thing you could do in that situation is be like, you know what, I don't like the way that you keep messing with me. You're really getting on my nerves. And honestly, we could just get down right now and start wrestling right now. And then she would say something, and then I would say, you know what, honestly though, I don't think you would be able to handle me. No, I think if we wrestled right now, I'd tap you out. I have way too much stamina for you. So that's another technique where I would say, I'm sort of talking about sex without even talking about sex, right? I'm literally talking about, oh, I have more stamina than you. We're gonna wrestle, I'm gonna tap you out. You couldn't handle me. I've literally mentioned all of these, themes without actually mentioning sex. So that's a sort of another way to do it. And obviously, if I'm saying that in a conversation with a girl, she's gonna be thinking about that 100%. And by the way, if you would like my personal help with transforming your confidence, with learning the skill set of actually communicating in an attractive way with women, then you can click the link below this video and book a free call with me. Now, the second conversation topic that's actually gonna make her feel something is dating itself. Why wouldn't you talk about dating itself when you're around a girl that you're interested in? And I'll give you a very specific example of this in action. So, in my gym, there's a very attractive front desk girl who works at the gym. Now, I'm finally moving to a different gym, and so I'm starting to apply pressure with my flirting with her. And so we're having a very long conversation, and finally I'm just like, you know what, I want to find out if this girl has a boyfriend or not. And I don't really know if I even did a transition into it, but at this point I was just like, oh, no, this is how it happened. So I asked her, I was like, are you doing anything this weekend? Are you doing anything fun this weekend? And she mentioned like a couple things. They were kind of boring, per usual. And I was like, you know what, it sounds to me, I don't know, it sounds to me like you're single. What, like you don't have a boyfriend or anything? Almost like I was like teasing her a little bit for not having a boyfriend. And so she was like, no, I actually don't have a boyfriend. I haven't had a boyfriend in like over a year. I'm just sort of texting this guy right now. And I'm like, wait a second, you haven't had a boyfriend in over a year. Wow, you must have like crazy standards. I don't know. Do you only date like tennis stars or something? And then I asked her what her standards were for a guy. And so she told me a couple things, and I was like, you know what? You and I, that's why you and I could never date. Um, I don't fit your criteria. Notice how I'm making it about me and her. I'm not just talking about dating in the abstract. I'm not talking about her dating life, but I'm finding a way to relate it to me and her. But I'm actually doing a playful push away. So I'm not like, oh, you know what? You and I should date. Now, you could totally do that, honestly. Um, you have to be careful. I tend to go more with like pushing away, but that's a topic for another video. Now, the third conversation topic that's going to make her feel something is talking about travel. Talking about going on an adventure. Okay, so this is good if you travel a lot, if you have gone to a certain country or two, because then you're going to be able to sort of portray yourself in a high value light. Even if you don't want to think of it that way, it's sort of interesting for a girl. What you want to do, though, is similar to the last point. You want to make it about you and her. And the way you can make it about you and her is a hypothetical adventure for the topic of traveling. So let's say the girl's like, "Oh, I want to travel to Italy." You can say, "You know what? You and I, we're going to Italy. We're going to go to Venice actually. We're going to get one of those boats. And what I'm going to have you do though, the only way I'm going to take you is if you row the boat though. I need you to row the boat for us, and then I'll figure it out." I don't know though. It seems like we would fight and just argue there. Like I feel like the trip would just be ruined. So I'm doing a wee adventure once again. I'm not just letting her win so easily though. I'm also giving her some shit. I'm putting in some obstacles, even within that wee hypothetical. The next topic that's really good is talking about doing something risky or getting into trouble. The other day, I'm talking to two 20-year-old girls outside of the Chick-fil-A in the food court at the mall. And the girl starts talking about hiking. And she says that her and her friends decided they were going to try to break into a hiking trail that led to a waterfall at 3 a.m. And so when a girl gives you a piece of conversational gold like that, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can go from there. And I'll give you three just for the heck of it. So one thing that I could say right there is, well, she's talking about how her and her friends were gonna break into a waterfall, which is already something that's very like adventurous. I could be like, you know what, for a second, I thought you were talking about going skinny dipping. So, and then from there you could branch off to talking about that. That's one. Another thing you can do is frame her as being risk taking and adventurous. And so you could say something, this is what I actually chose in that moment. I was like, you know what, you seem like a very adventurous girl. I kind of like that. I don't really like boring girls who never take any risks, never do anything spontaneous. This is very good to frame a girl as adventurous and spontaneous. Okay, because you're basically making the idea that you're non-judgmental, that you're open to going on an adventure with her, whether that's romantic or something of that nature, if you see what I'm getting at here. Now, the third place that I could have taken that was creating a hypothetical adventure involving me and the girl, because she's already talking about sort of going on an adventure, and there's two ways that I like to do this. Number one is like this. I could have said, you and I, we should definitely go see a waterfall together. I love waterfalls. You just gotta promise me that if we're out in the woods together, you're not gonna try anything weird, okay? You're not gonna, like, I don't know, kidnap me or anything, okay? So I like to do a hypothetical adventure, as you can tell, but then there's a caveat, okay? Then there's a little bit of a challenge. I don't just say, yeah, we should go see a waterfall together. Okay, I make it fun, I make it interesting. You haven't won me over yet. The second way that I like to do that hypothetical adventure is I go into the opposite direction and I make it very corny and exaggerated. So it's obvious that I'm joking. So I might say something like, you know what? We need to go see a waterfall together. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so romantic. Us at the bottom of the waterfall. There might even be a little rainbow coming out. Oh my gosh, somebody would take a picture of us. Needs to put it on the wall somewhere. It would be just so beautiful, I think. And so I'm taking it to such a extreme that I'm obviously joking. Okay, if you only exaggerate it a little is where you get into trouble, because then it's like, oh, he could be serious. Like, so for example, if I was like, you and I should go to the waterfall together and then we should kiss. Like, it wouldn't be enough. Wouldn't be enough. It sounds like, oh, okay, he's serious about that. And the next topic's not really a topic, it's more like a conversational game, and it's the questions game. So you set it up like this. Okay, we're gonna ask each other questions back and forth, and the only rule is you have to answer honestly, or else you're lame, or else you're gay, or put whatever rule you want to put in there. All right? And so here, this is really good because now you get plausible deniability to start asking her some riskier questions and leading into some more sexual topics. With immunity, with plausible deniability, of course. So there's plenty of questions here you could ask that are gonna make her gears start to turn in her head. And one thing you could ask her is like, have you ever kissed a girl before? Okay, this is good. One note that I'll have is most women have. This is good because now, obviously, you're getting her to think about kissing. And so you could branch off to this like, okay, are you a good kisser or are you a bad kisser? And then you're like, no, I'm a way better kisser than you. I don't believe you. All right, do you see how this can get very sexual kind of fast? Okay, another question you can ask her is, what's the weirdest place that you've ever had sex before? And you would be surprised at the answers you're gonna get to this question if the girl is honest to you. All right, there's many different questions you can ask here. Great game to do. Another topic that can go so many good ways is talking about working out. Now, you want to do this the right way, of course. You don't want to get super logical and start talking about like technique and nutrition and I eat 3,500 calories. And of course, you want to have some normal conversation where you are talking about logical things. But once again, you always want to bring it back to something emotional, to something that's going to make the girl feel something, and to talking about you and her. All right, so now how can we do this? How can we make this more emotional? All right, there's many ways to do this. You just got to get creative. But that's why I'm here. I'm the creative brain. One way you can do this is saying something very cocky. Okay, so I might be like, yeah, I've been hitting the gym for 2 years, but honestly, I've been taking a break recently. And the reason why is like whenever I walk around town, people just keep catcalling me. Like I have this girl over here whistling at me the other day, and it's just like, it's demeaning. I don't want all this attention on me. Like, I get it. I have beautiful quads. That doesn't mean you can just harass me when I'm out at the Walmart shopping for beef. All right, it's ridiculous, man. Gosh. The next topic that'll lead to good places is body modification. And no, I'm not talking about getting horns installed in your skull or tattooing your eyeballs black. I'm talking about regular tattoos, body piercings, even lip injections, even breast and butt implants. And so you might be asking me right now, Joseph, how in the world would I go about introducing the topic of breast implants into a conversation with a girl without seeming like a total weirdo? And actually, it's pretty simple once you know the sauce, like I do. And so I might say something like this. You know, my friend told me that he was in the gym the other day and he saw this woman running on the treadmill, and she had apparently, he said to me, atrociously large breasts. Like, they were bigger than double D's. They were just like massive. But the thing about them was like the way they were moving, because he kept like looking over. It was so like interesting to him. It was just like a novelty. And he could clearly tell that they were not moving the way that normal boobs are supposed to move. And it was just like sort of off. And so now, once again, I've introduced a sort of sexually themed topic into the conversation, and I get the plausible deniability because A, it's something that was in public, and B, it's something that somebody else told me. So it'd be very different if I was like, you know, I was staring at this girl's giant tits the other day. It would be a bit different, but if I say, oh, my friend told me this story about this girl that he just couldn't stop looking because it was just so weird, then I get away with it. Now, if you're ready to take your dating life to a thriving level, I've created a system that's already helped a lot of guys who are probably very similar to you to completely transform their confidence and to become the kind of leader who women are naturally just drawn to. If you would like to see how it can work for you, you can click the link below this video and book a free call. We'll map out a strategy for your dating life, and I'll show you how to start getting results right away.